Hi, everybody. Welcome to GitPOAP Community Call number 6. We are here with Ivan
Yeah.
Kaliev,
Mhm.
who works with Safe, previously Gnosis Safe. It has recently rebranded to just Safe. Um, and we are going to get to know him. He also works on Wave Surfer, which is a Web 2 software thing that we're going to learn about. And I'm going to pass it over to Colfax so that he can tell you what GitPOAP is and give you a brief overview and give you some GitPOAP updates.
Thanks, Nix. Good to see everybody here today. Thanks for joining. Quick intro to GitPOAP. For those not familiar, GitPOAP is a platform for celebrating and recognizing work done or sort of any sort of collaborative effort. So far, we focused on issuing GitPOAPs in recognition of open source software. And we are doing lots of things to support other types of communities and other types of efforts going forward, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Very excited that Ivan's here, and we actually support a couple different projects that he works on. So I'm excited to hear about all of that. But before I do so, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone here on the call. Thanks for joining two members of the GitPOAP team, including Nix, in addition to Nix, of course, Kayla and Burrs, regular attendees of this call. And then I also want to shout out a good friend of mine, Envetica.eth, who is, known him for very long through the Eastaker community, and he's helping out with actually streaming the call today on OBS. So thanks so much for your help, Envetica. Great. So a couple exciting updates from the GitPOAP front. I just want to share that we have now we crossed 1,000 GitPOAP holders just a couple days ago. And in recognition of the momentous occasion and everybody who has been contributing to open source software and minting their GitPOAPs, we actually created a GitPOAP for the first 1,000 GitPOAP holders. So if you hold one of the original first 1,000 GitPOAPs, head on back over to gitpoap.io and you have a new POAP waiting for you. And excited to see where we go from here. I'm excited to hit the next milestones of future holders and different use cases and things like that. The second thing I wanted to mention is 2023 GitPOAPs are now live. So we worked with a bunch of the projects that are issuing GitPOAPs on an automated basis based on their repos. Some of them actually went through rebrandings, like Safe. Others, we just used either the same design or we did an iteration on the design. So take a look at GitPOAP and take a look at all the new designs for 2023. And all those repos that were supported in 2022 are now eligible for earning a new GitPOAP for 2023. So if you contribute in 2022 and you were discouraged by the fact that you couldn't earn a new GitPOAP in 2022, you now can in 2023. So get back to contributing. The last thing I want to just go through is a little review and recap of the issuance methods of GitPOAPs that we're supporting now. So I just talked about our 2023 GitPOAPs. Those are our annual contributor GitPOAPs, we call them, that are based on GitHub repos and an automated issuance of anybody who contributes at least one pull request to the project that gets merged, they get their GitPOAP. We also have this GitHub bot that any of the maintainers of a project can tag. So you install the bot, it's like a very simple GitHub app, and then you can tag the bot at gitpoap-bot in any comment on either a pull request or an issue. And whomever you tag in that comment, they'll also get a GitPOAP. So it's a nice way to reward work that was done, but it's not necessarily like a merge pull request. So either maybe like the pull request was done as a duplicate, like for other work, so you're not going to merge it, or maybe somebody reported a high quality issue and you want to recognize them. I saw a couple of those last week. So it's just like another flexible tool for you to be able to offer recognition to your community. So that's sort of most like the issuance on the GitHub front. And as we talked about in our last community call, last couple of them actually, we recently launched a totally new issuance method on GitPOAP called custom GitPOAPs. And sort of the goal with custom GitPOAPs is putting all the flexibility and control in the hands of the issuers and the maintainers to be able to shape their recognition however they'd like. So you can actually create a custom GitPOAP, or really it is a GitPOAP, but I'm calling it custom by distinguishing from the GitHub integration for recognition for anything that you'd like around collaborative efforts or work in your community. So we're seeing a lot of people actually create them for the teams that are surrounding software releases or somebody actually did one for the Gnosis chain merge. Everyone who contributed to the merge, we issued a merge contributor one for the Ethereum merge back in September as well. And there's lots of interesting use cases. So we're excited to see how people continue to use custom Git POAPs to recognize and sort of shape recognition, how they like for their projects. That is sort of it from the updates from the Git POAP side. So I will pass it off to Nix. But before I do that, actually, everybody, if you're not in our Discord server yet, head on over to gitpoap.io/Discord and join our Discord server. Throughout the call, you can pop in questions either in the YouTube chat or into our Discord server in the general chat. And we will have a possible treat for you at the end if you join our guild on our Discord server. So head on over to the Join Guild channel and join the guild, and stay tuned for some new instructions later. So I will pass it off to, go ahead, Nix.
What is that? What is that Discord link for our Discord?
That is a great question. I'll post in the YouTube chat right now. It's gitpoap.io/Discord.
Sweet. Great. I, for one, am super excited about custom Git POAPs because we've gotten a lot of people who come to us and they say, hey, I work with this project, but I don't know GitHub. I'm not a programmer, but I'm a translator or community manager. And like, this is kind of my life. And it doesn't feel great that I don't have a Git POAP for this project that I invest a lot of my time in. And so custom Git POAP enables project managers to give Git POAPs, to give that recognition to the people who are doing a lot of work for their project, regardless of whether or not they're a software programmer.
Exactly. And one other thing to note about custom Git POAPs actually is you'll wonder, okay, we can issue Git POAPs to people that didn't contribute software now, but everything's GitHub based still, isn't it? And it's actually not. You can award custom Git POAPs to either GitHub usernames or email addresses or Ethereum addresses. So that really broadens who you can actually issue them to. So, all right, I will stop talking now and pass it off officially to Nix to chat with Ivan.
Great. Ivan, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Where do you come from? Where you have lots of different nicknames. I'd love to hear the origin story of one of them.
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm originally a linguist. That's how Web Surfer started. And later on, kind of got involved in web development and Web 2. And just recently, maybe a year or two ago, kind of started dabbling in Web 3. Yeah. And the username is really simple. It's just katspaugh, like cats.
Can you tell us a little bit about Wave Surfer and what it is?
Yeah, so Wave Surfer, it's a JavaScript plugin. I started it as a side project 11 years ago. I know that because there's a GitPOAP from 2012 that only I have. It's a library that you give it an audio file and it renders a waveform in the browser, kind of like on SoundCloud, and like a wavy graphic. And you can play the audio, kind of jump, see where pauses were, where the audio was louder, and so on. And like I said, I started as a linguistic project to study discourse analysis, and then kind of this cohort of users jumped in and also started using it for research, and then also music people joined in, radio hosts, and children books use it for their websites. So a lot of users came and made this a really popular project that has like 7K stars right now.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like it's used by quite a lot of people. What year did you start it? Was it like it was 2012?
Yeah, exactly.
2012. It seems like you have a lot of contributors. When did it start getting picking up steam? Because I assumed that you started building it and it took a while for contributors and users to come in.
Yeah, it's really snowballed. Like in the beginning, it was just me and a few people contributing, creating issues or like asking questions, a Stack Overflow. But then, yeah, it kind of just gained momentum, and there is also a chat, a Git chat, where people discuss different issues, help each other out. Lots of pull requests and lots of also questions and bug reports.
Can you guys still hear me? I feel like I froze.
You're back.
You're good.
Okay, great. Cool. Yeah. It's really cool to watch GitHub, like open source projects like that have a lot of contributors, because I feel like a lot of the times when people build, like 90% of those projects are people just building for themselves. And GitPOAP in general is really curious to see like what causes that snowball, what brings people to build.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. It just hit the right mark, and it's just something people needed, I guess. But I still think there can be always more people who are more actively contributing, not just asking for features or reporting bugs, but also code. Even linguists who kind of never coded before, they try to change code, and that's really nice to see. And I think projects like GitPOAP really help with that. They can put it on their resume, maybe even, and get recognition from the potential employers. And also, I really like how embedded this is in this whole GitHub system. It was really easy to install the bot. It just works, posts a comment, and looks really nice.
Nice. You also have a number of other projects on your GitHub. Are there any that in particular that are your favorite or that you want to talk about? Ones that you're working on, want contributors for?
Sure. Yeah, most of them are like language related, language learning related. I've been learning German for many years, so a lot of that came from that. Yeah, some of them also got used by a few people.
Well, do you speak many languages?
Yeah, so I've been learning German, still am, and Japanese, and Japanese especially since it's such a hard language with a lot of grinding. You have to find software shortcuts. So I created lots of small tools for kanjis and stuff like that.
Nice. So what was your transition from, was Web 2 your main gig before you came to Web 3?
Yeah, exactly. I just
Or
joined
like,
Safe without it was called Noses Safe back then, and I didn't know anything about blockchain. And just started learning from scratch. And thankfully, the team is very knowledgeable and helpful. So I got up to speed real quick.
do you remember what the first thing you worked on with Safe was?
It's Safe, the first thing. Well, to give you some background, I'm running the front end team. So I guess the first thing is I started hiring the team. So now we are 5 people working on the front end, and it's all open source. All our pull requests are happening on GitHub. And of course, when an external contributor comes, they can create an issue or a pull request. And we have a bunch of issues marked as beginner friendly or like first issue friendly. So if you guys who are watching want to contribute to Safe, there's always a bunch of smaller, lower hanging fruit that you can grab, and we'll guide you through any questions or any ideas you might have to add.
Nice. Do you find that you have a lot of new contributors that come in and contribute, or is it mostly like a core set of people, or how does that normally work for you?
I think it's like a connected network. People know people, and Discord is kind of bringing a lot of people. And there are like serial contributors that contribute to lots of projects, but also some random usernames I never saw before just pop up and make cool contributions.
Nice. And so if anybody is here just in the audience that knows how to do some programming or wants to get involved in open source, like what do you recommend as like, do you have any encouragement or advice for them for how they can get involved?
Absolutely. I think it's important to first kind of communicate your intention to the team who's maintaining the project. maybe your idea is already being worked on, or it's too difficult for the beginner to start with that. Also, like I said, like tags such as good first issue help if you can find such in a repository. And then once you communicate this idea and got positive feedback, um, also outline maybe your approach and ask guiding questions to how to structure your contribution. That would really help to kind of smooth your code into the code base.
Nice. Yeah, it makes total sense. That's great advice. Cool. Well, I want to shift gears and talk a little bit more about Safe. So I know you touched a little bit on what you were doing before you joined Gnosis Safe at the time, now Safe. And you didn't have a whole lot of background like in Web3 before and stuff. I guess, can you just like complete the picture a little bit more on what it's been like joining Safe, what inspired you to join them? And I guess maybe to start off with, can you just give us a high level on what Safe is all about?
Sure, yeah. Well, Safe is a so-called multi-sig wallet. It's a smart contract wallet where the core feature is that several people control the wallet. So every time you make a transaction, say swap ETH for USDT, all of the Safe owners should sign that transaction. But this is kind of the tip of the iceberg. Since it's a smart contract wallet, lots of different functions can be added on top of the like wallet interactions. It's a fully programmable wallet, so to say. So you can add things like time locks or deadman switches or spending limits. For example, one owner can spend $100 every month without approvals.
That's really cool. Can you give me an example of like who might want to use a Safe?
So
or what they would use it for? Yeah.
Most of the users are users who are concerned with security of their assets. We have lots of whales who are using the Safe and store like billions of assets in safes. Second type of people would be DAOs, where a safe would be the treasure of the DAO, right? And people would collaboratively take decisions on where to move certain assets. But yeah, if you are security focused, or like if you were hacked before, that's a very good incentive to try a multi-sig.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense. And so, sorry, I cut out for a little bit. Now Nix is her Wi-Fi is a little unstable, but now I think we're good going forward. Sorry if you already mentioned this, but so Safe seems like, I understand that. So I've used Safe. It's an awesome product. I'm just trying to make it accessible to anybody in the audience. I understand like Safe, it makes sense, but for a non-crypto native user, or somebody that's already involved in Web3, it might be hard to understand sort of the need for this. So I guess what inspired you to want to join the Safe team? And like, did you see that it's solving a problem that you understood as like a non-crypto user, or like what really inspired you to want to dive in?
Yeah, absolutely. Like one big factor for me was that I see in the community so many people are really they really value the product. Lots of positive feedback every time we post something on Twitter. Also, it's all open source, so I see that in every repository there are like stars and people participating. So for me, this connection with the community and getting direct feedback from people is very important.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's nothing, you can't fake a passionate community of users. So yeah, that's really cool to see.
So yeah, I won't lie, I like didn't understand the product itself from the get-go. But now I really see that it's one of the core things in the ecosystem. The whole DAO movement wouldn't exist if Safe wasn't there.
Yeah, it's true. It's a very integral part of everything.
Can you explain just for like the soundbite, what do you mean by it? The whole DAO movement wouldn't exist without the multi-sig, without Safe?
Might be a slight exaggeration, but what I meant is basically a collaborative asset management system is what is the core of a DAO. For example, we say, shall we sponsor a bounty to add a new feature to our product? And people vote on that, and then they press a button, and once every owner confirmed, the assets are moved, right?
Mhm.
That makes
There's
sense. And
no-
so there's
yeah.
there's actually a question in the YouTube chat, which I think relates to this very, very, very well. The question is it possible to use Safe as a main wallet, like for an individual user, similar to how MetaMask is used? Or is it only useful for DAOs?
No, absolutely. It can be used by the end user. You can even just control it yourself. Say you have MetaMask installed your browser, and you have a mobile app, a Rainbow wallet, or something like that. And then you confirm on your desktop and you confirm on your mobile. And that's this added layer of security and the time to think about what you're signing. You see a nice picture, a nice NFT, and you think, okay, I need to buy it now. But when you have two places where you need to confirm it gives you extra time to sober up.
That's funny. And then also presumably, like if somebody gains control of my MetaMask, they can't move my funds without
Exactly.
actually having control over both.
Or you can have three wallets signing in the wallet, and two of them required. And if you lose your phone, the third wallet would replace the second one. So it's also safer
Cool.
in this regard.
That's cool. So it essentially functions as two-factor authentication, but in a decentralized way, because at this point, two-factor authentication is not a decentralized process. It relies on mostly like Google or like Key or Authy or whatever other methods they have. So this is actually a decentralized two-factor authentication.
Exactly, yeah. You custody your own wallets, and it can be two-factor, it can be n-factor, as many signers as you want.
Cool. Another question is, so I actually haven't validated this. I'm trying to understand exactly what the user means, but the question in the chat is, why is a safe transaction fee more than other dexes? I'm imagining they mean like, why is a transaction fee using a safe more expensive than just sending a regular transaction fee or sending a regular transaction? Can you comment on that real quick?
Yeah. Well, of course, there is a certain overhead, because when you are interacting with a smart contract wallet, you're not sending your transaction directly to the dApp you're dealing with. You're first sending a transaction to the contract that is your wallet, in this case, the safe. And you tell it, hey, you go and send a transaction to that dApp on my behalf.
That makes sense. So essentially you're paying for a little bit for the extra hop of using the safe along that transaction. But for that extra little bit of fee, I don't know what percentage it would be, it's probably case dependent. You're getting like the security of like what the safe actually gives you.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. That makes
Security
sense.
and also flexibility. In some cases, you can actually save gas because we have a feature that allows you to batch several transactions. So imagine you are swapping, again, ETH for USDC, right? And you need to first wrap that ETH and then swap, and that's already two transactions. And you need to approve also each of these tokens. So that's three transactions that you can put in a queue and then batch them. With the safe, you can do it in one transaction, so you save gas fees on the three interactions.
That is a really cool thing. I've actually never personally used the batching functionality on Safe. I should go test that out.
Sure. Now, another kind of use case would be you have several NFTs that you want to send to someone. You can also just kind of batch them and send them all in one go.
Cool. That makes total sense.
Ivan, I'm curious. How many people work at Safe?
We are about 50 people right now. It's a very
Okay.
fast growing startup.
Huge team, at this point, like compared to like Web3 teams in general, it's a great team. It's a great size team. I'm just kind of gauging like what exactly I can ask you questions about. Are there like multiple products that Safe is working on right now?
Yeah, Safe is an ecosystem. There is the web app, which is what I'm working on, the front end. There is a mobile app, and there is also a bunch of kind of infrastructure level, not products, but parts of this ecosystem that are also accessible to like users and developers.
That's awesome. Can you dive in, yeah, into a little bit more about what you do for Safe? So you work on the front end, the web app. Can you talk a little bit more specifically about that?
Yeah, sure. That's actually like it was my segue to Web3 from regular Web2 front end, because in the end it's all JavaScript, it's all front end, and that's what I do here at Safe. We develop the JavaScript front end for the web wallet, and it's a team of 5 people. You can see us interacting on GitHub and claiming POAPs.
Nice. Can you, so speaking of claiming POAPs, have you earned your 2023 Safe GitPOAP yet?
I think Kyle and I are still ironing out a few kinks, but it's very soon to be launched. Right?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Can you tell us?
cool.
Oh,
It'll be launched soon. We're consolidating some of the GitPOAPs to make it a little bit more straightforward. So yeah,
sounds
he'll
good.
earn it
Perfect.
soon.
Nice. Can you tell me about one of the recent features you've added to, or tell everybody about one of the recent features you've added, or even if it's behind the scenes that you've added to the Gnosis Safe UI, or the Safe UI, sorry.
Yeah, we are actually working on a release that will go out this week, and this will have a very anticipated feature to manage your spam tokens. I don't know if you guys ever received unwanted tokens into your wallet. This, for some people who are like celebrities in Web3, they receive hundreds of them. If you open Vitalik's safe, which holds billions of dollars in ETH, he has like 300 spam tokens. And this is something that people have been requesting a lot, and you can finally hide them.
Awesome. When you say hide, you mean, can you talk a little bit about how that works? Like, are you actually sending the spam tokens away, or are you just hiding them on some UI? Or I'm very curious.
Yeah, our kind of plan or strategy here is to first give users the option to just hide them visually. So they're still there in your wallet, unfortunately, but you can just get them out of the view. And our next step would be to kind of integrate allow lists. Kind of like on Uniswap, when you select a token, some tokens are approved or verified, they're in this allow list, and some tokens you have to import them. So we'll be using a list similar to that, and only approved and tokens that are in CoinGecko, on CoinMarketCap, and so on Etherscan, only those will be visible by default.
Cool. That makes sense. Yeah, it's an inherent challenge with like the decentralized nature of making tokens and the whole ecosystem, but also like that lowers the barrier, which is a good thing in general, but also it's a bad thing with regard to spam and like keeping usability. I know scrolling through, like either trying to use like some new token on a DEX or like scrolling through Etherscan, it's like impossible to really understand some of these tokens or like filter out the madness. Yeah. Cool. Is there a feature that you're working on or your team is working on for the Safe UI that you're particularly excited about that you can talk about? I don't want you to share too much alpha if you can't.
Yeah, also we just did a token launch, and there's a lot of work around that. It will be easier for people to delegate their token governance allowance. So we are working on the governance app, so to say.
Cool.
Just out of curiosity, do you guys have a number on like how many of eligible safe users actually claimed their safe airdrop?
Yeah, I don't have a precise number, but unfortunately, some users did not claim before, hadn't claimed before the deadline ended, which was 27th of December.
Yeah, you guys, I remember you guys were really loud about it on Twitter, like, go claim your airdrops.
But I think if you didn't claim, also you are probably not as active in the community, so the community regulates itself in this way, I guess.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's a really good point. Active users are the ones who are claiming, and they are the ones who should be involved in governance.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. Nice. So for Safe, you said there's 5 people on your team. The UI is totally open source. Is the smart contracts, I'm sure, are also open source, right? Is everything top to down open source?
Yeah, exactly. You can go on GitHub and basically read through READMEs and spin up your own safe, the entire stack, from the contract to backend and front end. And front end specifically, I think is just a bunch of static files. So it's a really nice way for people who want to start contributing to Safe to come and try that. You can very easily run it locally and see your changes in real time, how to reload and all that. So I really encourage people to come and do some JavaScript. We're
Nice.
going to help.
As far as the current state of things, do you find that like I'm imagining that the core team, the 5 of you, do most of the work in the UI, but do you have like a consistent amount of external contributions, or are they mostly like one-offs? Or are they like typo fixes in docs, or are people actually helping build some more core functionality, or is it mostly done still by the core team? And also, even is that something you want? Like, what does external engagement look like that's useful for you?
Yeah, I would say the contributions I've seen so far, they've been like small to medium. Like I said, if you are aiming to contribute something bigger, it's probably best to align with us. And we also are running different bounty programs. So especially if your idea that you want to add to the safe is around account abstraction, or sign with Ethereum or something like that in this area, it can be paid for. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's cool. So there's ways for external contributors who want to work on something bigger to actually even get like paid and compensated for their work, in addition to a GitPOAP.
Yeah.
Nice.
We also run regular hackathons. Because Safe is extensible, you can create modules in Safe apps, which are front ends for the apps. So in those hackathons, people come up with all kinds of crazy ideas. For example, if you have a safe and you die, right? Your assets are not lost. They would be automatically sent to your close ones using a so-called deadman switch. So that's like one option to extend the functionality of a safe. And we get really cool ideas and really cool contributions in those hackathons. And those projects after the hackathon itself, they continue developing.
Yeah, that's really cool to think about Safe as a puzzle piece that can be put under many other things in the future. And like, we're still so early with building all this infrastructure. I hadn't thought about the concept of, yeah, like if Safe, what happens to your safe if you pass away? I like that dead man switch concept. Cool. So we talked earlier about just generally, if I'm a contributor and want to get started on something, if I particularly am passionate about Safe and I want to get started on doing something with Safe, keeping in mind the advice you gave for earlier contributors, like state your intentions and take on sort of a small to medium task. Are there open issues like on the Safe UI repo that people can get started on? Or if as the very first step, if I wanted to start contributing to Safe, what should I do? Should I join Discord? Should I look for first issues? Should I send you a message on Telegram? What do you think?
Yeah, I think joining Discord would be a really good option. There is a link on save.global to our Discord channel. There is a very active dev group, dev channel where you can hang out with us. But then, of course, on GitHub, if you just open issues and click on a bug label, right, you would see a bunch of bugs. That would be the easiest entry point. Some of them are tagged minor. I think those are typically just some minor visual issues that are really easy to fix as a beginner and not knowing the code base. And then you can progress to something more involving.
Nice, awesome. I just found the issues and I see some bug tags. I'm going to post this in the YouTube chat so people
Thank you.
Let's see. Of course. Awesome. And it looks like you got another question in the YouTube chat. Let's see. It's sort of a feedback on the UI. Just going to throw it out here to you. Maybe you can comment on it or even add it to the possible list of features to be considered. The question from the chat is it possible to add separate transaction menu where we can see all the network transactions in one place? That would be very helpful to users.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm interpreting this right, but if we're talking about all networks, maybe the person meant across different networks.
I think
chains.
so. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
unfortunately,
what it seems like
this is not an option right now, but it really makes sense, I think, to have a portfolio where you see multiple. The only problem with Safe is that unlike regular wallets, where when you create an address, it's the same address on all chains. So you can think of one wallet just switching between chains, but it's the same address, right? A Safe is there's a contract, so it needs to be deployed on the chain. And although it is possible to deploy on the same address on different chains, it's not always a given.
Yeah.
In fact, the word big kind of not losses, it was recovered, but if you accidentally send to the wrong address, it's not necessarily that same safe controlled by the same people. But yeah, given those limitations, I think it would be still possible to list your transactions across chains, and it's a very valid request.
Cool, and that's a really good point about Safe. Since they are contracts, they don't behave like normal, like Ethereum addresses that you would have on a normal wallet. So the example there that you outlined is like if I have an address that I've used on Ethereum mainnet, if somebody sends me something on, say, Polygon, I can still receive that because I have the private key for that. But since Safe is a smart contract, you need to deploy to each chain that you want to receive funds on before you actually send funds to it. And you did mention that you could possibly deploy to the same address. Is that true?
Yeah, there are like several factors that contribute to the final address of your wallet, of your Safe. And one of them is the so-called master contract. I'm not sure if this is going too much into the implementation details, but basically it's a contract that is the actual code of the smart contract, whereas your Safe is a proxy to that. And depending on which address that master copy, the main contract is deployed to, your final address also can be different. So if, say, on Ethereum, on the mainnet, this main contract is on 123, and on Polygon it's on 456, the end safe will also be different.
That's super interesting. I hadn't thought about those implementation details. Definitely a deeper thing for the general audience, but it's good to learn. I'm definitely learning stuff on this call too, which is great. So I have one last question that comes to mind, and then I'll open it up for any other questions from anybody here on the chat. Given that you started off outside of Web3 and joining into Web3, what do you have any advice specifically for people that also want to make that transition from like they think what they I guess they think they heard about like blockchain or Ethereum or something and they want to they think it's cool but they don't really know too much but they want to get more involved possibly as a developer, like what you recommend for them to do to sort of make that transition into Web3?
I would say just jump right in. It's still early, as they say in the DJing community. I think the Web3 ecosystem is still developing so fast that everything changes every year. So people who have been here for, since Ethereum started, they don't even have that much of an advantage over a fresh starter because everything changes so fast. And there are also lots of learning resources popping up. For example, Speedrun Ethereum, or you can use a website like Rabbit Hole, where it gives you like this gamified quest experience where you solve quests by doing certain things in DeFi and NFTs and so on. So there is a lot of learning opportunities, and it's all free and open.
Nice, that's awesome. And then to repeat the advice you gave before, like specifically for Safe, like joining the Discord and taking a look at the GitHub and the different repos there that are open source for the Safe project. And then you can look at good first issues or bugs and reach out to the team and just start contributing.
Yes, 100%.
Nice. That's something that I love about open source is it's so accessible to contribute and be able to add value. You don't need to go through like interviews and all this sorts of stuff to actually be able to like contribute to some of the most fundamental and important projects that are building the ecosystem. So it's super cool.
Yeah, of course, there'll still be a very rigorous review, but
yes,
like I said, we are also helpful and we'll guide you.
Definitely. Totally understood. Cool. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share either about Wave Surfer or Safe while we're here on the call?
No, I just want to thank you guys again for this cool project. We tried different other similar NFTs before, which were not as well integrated into this whole GitHub flow. But I think POAP as a format has already established itself for events and conferences and things like that. And GitPOAP, I see it as a brother or sister project that is also now becoming a really integral part of the community. And thanks a lot for also designing the POAP for us. Big kudos to GitPOAP designers and Kayleen who worked with me on creating them.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we have an awesome design team, and I love the design of the Safe GitPOAP. So, yeah, thanks for saying that. I'm glad GitPOAP is helping you guys out to recognize and reward contributions. Alrighty, to wrap things up, let's see. Are there any other questions from the YouTube chat? Let me take a quick look, and I'll take a look at Discord as well.
We have one that's very curious about your upcoming sprints to see if your focus on features for web will increase. Notice that there's more on mobile.
I'm sure there'll be like an equal amount of features released on both clients. I would say web is moving faster even.
Cool. Nice. Well, before we wrap things up, we have a POAP for this community call. So in order to get this POAP, I will actually pass it over to Nix to explain the process.
All you got to do is go to our Discord. And then once you go to the Discord, go to the Join Guild channel, and there is a claim button there that you can click. It'll have you join the guild and then claim. It's $2, and that $2 is going to a vault that we have, and it will be distributed to some public good. We haven't decided yet what that is. It might be sending a developer, sponsoring a developer to go to a conference, or it might be supporting an open source project. And if we do support an open source project, it will be up to the community call POAP participants to decide what project that is in maybe a snapshot vote. So yeah, go claim that GitPOAP, go claim that GitPOAP POAP, and we will make sure that that comes with some voting rights or some rights to decide where those funds go.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm excited to see what we can do with this, these funds from the POAPs. I'm focused on getting mine right now.
Thank you, Ivan, for coming, and thank you, Burrs and Kayla and Colfax, for everybody joining, and thank you, Ambetica, for hosting our streaming software.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks, everybody. Nice to meet you, Ivan. Have a good one.